What if I told you that one of the biggest cryptocurrency heists in history wasn't pulled off by some sophisticated hackers, but by a 20-year-old kid from Singapore who used to spend his days playing Minecraft with his friends? This is the story of Malone Lam, a young man who went from playing simple games to playing for the highest stakes possible, and how it all came crashing down. In September of 2024, American investigators were piecing together a shocking puzzle. A billionaire investor, an older gentleman who thought his life savings were secure in the digital world, had his account completely drained. In the blink of an eye, 4,100 Bitcoin, worth a staggering $230 million, vanished from his digital wallet. The first whispers of this massive theft didn't come from law enforcement, but from the crypto world's own digital detective, the Twitter account ZachXBT, famous for exposing scams. He laid out a thread of transactions tracing the stolen funds and revealing that an elderly man had been robbed of his life's fortune. The community was stunned. A heist of this magnitude, targeting a single individual, was almost unheard of. The genius of the operation was its deceptive simplicity. Malone Lam and his crew allegedly used a sophisticated psychological trick known as social engineering. Posing as Google support staff, they contacted the victim, manufacturing a crisis in earning his trust. Once they had him on the line, they guided him, step by step, into revealing the private keys to his digital vault. The moment that final transaction was confirmed, Malone Lam's life was changed. But he wasn't the only one. He and his network of friends were about to embark on a spending spree that would make them legends in some circles and public enemies in others. Having $250 million in stolen Bitcoin is one thing. Spending it is another. The crew immediately went to work laundering the money, using a complex web of crypto mixers, VPNs, and fake accounts to obscure the digital trail. They sliced and diced the fortune, sending it through thousands of transactions to make it nearly impossible to trace back to the source. But for all their technical sophistication in hiding the money, they showed an almost comical lack of subtlety in spending it. We're talking about nights out at exclusive clubs where they would burn through $400,000 to $500,000 in a single evening. They amassed a fleet of over 30 luxury cars, including Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Porsches. They rented mansions in New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. Lam and his crew were so flush with cash that they were reportedly gifting Hermes and Chanel handbags to influencers and strangers they met at parties, living a life that seemed ripped from a movie script, one where the money would never, ever run out. But where there's that much smoke, there's a fire, and the FBI was already honing in on the heat. As anonymous as cryptocurrency can seem, every single transaction is permanently recorded on the blockchain. It's a public ledger, and skilled investigators can peel back the layers, one by one. They followed the digital breadcrumbs left behind by the crew's lavish spending and sloppy operational security. Each luxury car purchase, each million-dollar club bill, each mansion rental was another nail in their coffin. Slowly but surely, the investigators unraveled the network, and at the center of it all, they found one name: Malone Lam. In September 2024, the party came to an abrupt end. The 20-year-old Singaporean was arrested, and the headlines exploded. The Minecraft kid had become the world's most infamous Bitcoin thief. When dragged into court, Malone Lam stood his ground, pleading not guilty and insisting that he was innocent, that the real story had yet to be told. But prosecutors painted a very different picture, one supported by a mountain of evidence. They had the receipts for the supercars, the bills for the $500,000 nights, and most importantly, they had the digital trail that they say leads directly from the victim's empty wallet to the accounts controlled by Lam and his enterprise. The case now poses a profound question for our digital age. On one hand, you have a brilliant 20-year-old who could have used his immense talent to build a legitimate, world-changing career. Instead, he allegedly channeled that intelligence into masterminding a massive criminal conspiracy. On the other hand, you have a legal system now tasked with deciding his future. A lifetime behind bars, or perhaps a deal that sees him serve a lesser sentence. In the age of the internet, it might seem easier than ever to make a fortune overnight, but the fallout from those choices can arrive just as quickly.